Welcome to episode 50 of the Out Alone podcast. As always, I'm your host, Jeffrey Canova, joined by my lovely co host here in the Isaac Hausen and the Kieran Keneally, the Doc, as I like to say. Boys, World Cup is officially done. The 2026 FIFA World Cup has officially come to a close. Um, Great tournament, I would say, overall. Just happy to have had it in my country here in the U.S., Mexico, and Canada as well. Shout out to everyone. I think we got to give a special shout out to every fans out there that have made it to an awoken environment for the people down here in L.A., New York, Atlanta, Texas, Mexico as well, and Canada as well for all the games. I think shout out to all those people who brought the ambience and the environment and the welcoming, I guess, vibe to this World Cup. So shout out to them. But yeah, the final was today. We had the third place game yesterday, but it was. I'm not gonna lie, it was a really good third place matchup. I did catch the last 20 minutes of it. It's pretty good. Not gonna lie, pretty entertaining. Only because I think the first half, no one actually really gave a crap about the game. But I think the second half was really good. Just with the goals that France came in to really get back into the game. Mbappe obviously ends the World Cup with a few goals here and there. Um, but obviously today's main topic point will be Spain finally winning the World Cup this year, as expected. One of the finalists, and one of the teams to really come out on top in this matchup, especially going up against an Argentina team that really looked out of it, really looked exhausted, and just weren't really any competition for the Spain team. And a lot of teams really did look like that against Spain, but um, no, congratulations to Spain. Well deserved win. 1-0 goal from Ferran Torres. Shout out to myself. I did call it. I said Ferran is going to get a goal. It just makes sense. He had a rough year. A lot of Barca fans are not big fans of him. I think he might be sold or might no longer be sold based on like the transfer rumors that are coming out. Might be going to PSG or might be staying after this. Who knows? But um, good goal from him. Good performance as well. I think he was a player that was really needed as the game kind of progressed, I would say, with his ability to just run the channels and bring a little bit of the pace right behind Romero and Lissandro Martinez, who did unfortunately get injured. So that's going to be some. So I want to sting a little bit to you, Doc, but I mean, it does suck for Man United to lose one of their top defenders coming into the season. I know Arsenal going into that with Saliba, so it just sucks that Leach is just another one in the Premier League victim list of players being injured right before the season starts. But no, it was a good goal. I think great finish. Good impact sub from him, Nico. I think Pedri as well made a good appearance. Obviously, Kubarsi was. I'm not sure if he was the man of the match of the game, but he was definitely one of the top performers. Isaac, do you remember if was he man of the match?
I think I want to say was it just Torres for I think getting the goal. I want to
Yeah, I
say
don't
because I think it
remember
was the photo
who.
of like Shakira handing him the trophy. Which I mean, hey, outside of PK, I don't know if there's another footballer or ex-footballer that wouldn't want a trophy handed to them by Shakira.
Yeah, little dig there at PK. Who might be happy? Who's going to
I
be
mean,
happy
it's a
about him?
proper ding. How do you mess that relationship up? I'm
Oh
sorry to
yeah,
come
no,
on.
definitely.
I mean,
Oh no,
that's
he.
on him. I mean, I think you're it's right to take a few shots there. Sorry,
Hell
I
yeah.
hope he's not listening. He's not listening.
Who cares? But no, I think great subs. Again, the manager battle here was going to be the main talking point. Luis De La Fuente versus Scaloni, and I think Luis De La Fuente came out on top here. I mean, just great subs. It just felt dominant, and it really took me by surprise into. I think the shots on target. I think by the 80th minute, I was telling Kobe, shout out to Bert. Um, I think coming into the game, it was just or the 80th minute. I think Argentina had like what 0 shots, 0 on target, and I think Spain had like 15 or 16 to like 14 on target, which was just insane. I couldn't believe the stats I was reading. But no, I think it was a great performance from Spain and well deserved. It was very close. I mean, not close. It was very like just very compact. I would say just 0-0 until it took till the 107th minute for Ferran to finally get that goal. But oh, it was a good dominant performance from Spain. I don't know, Isaac. I know you were the other one that watched the game. What were your thoughts as well?
Yeah, I joked for Kieran, who's able to watch like out of the World Cups in our lifetime, that was probably like just the one to miss if you had to choose it. I think it was a lot of sort of maybe even what we expected ahead of time, outside of I think wanting more out of an Argentina perspective. I mean, yeah, you look at the shots, you talk about 0 shots up until that minute. I mean, they finished with two in total and one on target. They never really had a chance until it felt like the 110-minute plus. I mean, Enzo Fernandez was just again biased because it's what I've seen in my lifetime. One of the stupidest second yellows like of all time. Considering this, not I don't feel like I shouldn't even have to say considering the situation because it's the World Cup final we're talking about. Like the single most important game of most footballers, if not every footballer's lifetime. Like if there's one game you don't dive in for the extra tackle to get that second yellow and essentially screw your team up. Crazy. But even before that, it was all Spain. I think I talked about them as a unit. I ended up, a little stumble there in the last video. I repeated myself twice, but there was the cohesiveness. We talked about them through this entire tournament. And it was just sort of wondering if they were going to be able to do sort of the same with Argentina. And I think I had questions about how Argentina was going to be able to handle that because I think I was thinking about it earlier in the first half, seeing sort of how Spain came out early, not knowing how the end was going to go. Okay, like if there's any team, Argentina's a team to handle this. They're kind of the one team that was designed to go up against a Spain like this. Like if there's any team to hunker in, it's a team that's done that and has shown that, and has also had to go up against it quite a bit. And they can kind of play both sides of it. They've been in some crazy games. It seems like the only way in my mind to sort of counter sort of the calmness that Spain had sort of shown throughout their tournament. They even talked about sort of with the physicality that they brought and sort of the fouls you had seen throughout. Argentina was very much trying to get them to play that style of game, just even very choppy. And they weren't unable to do that. I think that just speaks to how great the Spain team is. I think even Rodri in that midfield, I think Rodri did win player of the tournament. I want to say you saw why, just the way that him and that Spain midfield were able to dictate the game, just let alone the press and everything. It was just all Spain throughout the entirety of the game, fairly to say. Fully deserved the goal, and I think everyone correctly so deserved the awards that they got. I think Mbappe will finish up as the leading goal scorer. So still, another World Cup, another leading goal scorer. He's going to be breaking every record you'd assume, bar injury, in these next couple. But yeah, it's just another great all-around performance from Spain.
No, completely agree. Karen, I know you didn't watch the game, but any thoughts on? I think overall with Spain, any overall thoughts?
I guess more with Argentina. I'm just based off what I've heard from you guys in the stats. I'm surprised at how poor they were. I mean, what one shot on target across 120 minutes? That's just very surprising. Like this is, like Isaac said, the World Cup final. It's the biggest sports game in the world, and for them to kind of put out that kind of performance really surprised me. I mean, I know Spain are the best team in the tournament, but I thought Argentina would be able to handle it a bit better. You know, they're a very resilient team. They've won games in many different types of ways this tournament. For them to kind of whimper out like that was very surprising. I mean, more than likely Messi's last ever World Cup game, and that's how it ends for him. That's a bit surprising, but I mean, credit to Spain. I mean, one goal conceded all tournament. That's probably one of the most dominant World Cup campaigns we've seen, at least this century, maybe in terms of a defensive perspective. Yeah, Rodri. I mean, there was question marks about him going into the tournament with his fitness of City, but he looks back to his best, better than ever, arguably. And as a whole, I mean, Spain's first game they drew against Cape Verde. Some people were concerned. Some people may have written them off after that kind of result, but it goes to show you don't win the World Cup after the first game, just like you don't win any tournament after the first game. So they taught us that patience is really key in how you judge a team, and they came up clutch when it mattered the most. So congratulations to Spain, and I think we're probably seeing the next or the second Spanish golden generation now since they've won the Euros and World Cup.
Yeah, they're on a great track to really just dominate for even until the next World Cup because you're arguably the best player there in Lamine, who's going to come into being 23, 24 by the next World Cup, which is still insanely young, but he's going to have 4 more years of experience. Knocking on wood that anything bad happens, anything serious happens, like injuries or whatever it may be, or just retires from football. It's like, dude, I've won 3 UCLs, 2 back to back. I'm done with football. I've already won this. I'm retiring, but highly doubt that will fucking happen. But no, I think they're in a good spot. I think Pedri will be entering his prime as well, 27, 28. Obviously, Kubarsi, who's been the best defender at this World Cup in terms of performances. I mean, young player of the tournament, well deserved from him. He was just dominant again today. Absolutely shut down any aerial or counterattack that Argentina did had. He had a few duels against Messi that he won and absolutely neutralized Julian Alvarez out of this game. I don't even think Julian Alvarez had a sniff of running behind or a one-on-one opportunity or ability to win Kubarsi just completely shut that down, and I thought he was just absolutely fucking amazing. Laporte was decent as well, but I think Kubarsi, just the way he was able to man mark, I think Julian was just amazing.
I will say as well, to give one shout out for Argentina. I don't know, we don't love him. Emilio Martinez did have a phenomenal game. 11 saves in the World Cup final. I think it might be a record. You'd have to check me on that, but I believe it is a record for a World Cup final, which is crazy. He's the sole reason this game went in extra time. He was absolutely phenomenal. And then to end off, there's a little stat here. Rodri 694 passes is a tournament high since records began in 1966. That's crazy.
That's insane. And it goes to show how much they're just built around it, because they rely on him so much to break the line, get out of possession, escape pressure, build out from the back, and then move the ball. Like his switch, he's just. I'm hearing reports. I swear on my life, I'm hearing reports that Madrid are not interested. This dude has been like, I wouldn't say twerking. Like people like to say like twerking for a club. This guy has been damn near twerking or bending over for us for the last few years in interviews, the last few weeks and months prior to the World Cup, in interviews about how he would be interested, his contract's still running out. Yeah, I'm hearing reports that the club is not interested. I hope to God, in the next few hours, I better hear, you know what? Fuck all that shit. We have to splash the cash. And you know what's funny too? I'm hearing Olise rumors, which is fair. I understood those rumors were bound to happen. But I'm gonna be straight up with you. I don't think we need Olise. I think Rodri would really be the key player to really help us down on defensively. And then of course we're just missing that profile to really just help us unlock defenses when when other teams are sitting deep, a player who can shoot from outside, clutch, control, finesse, escape. I better hear in the next few hours that we're gonna go after Rodri, because if we don't, I'm gonna be extremely pissed off, like extremely mad. But going back to the original statement before I went on a little soliloquy about Rodri, I think, it's insane how much he won, how dominant he's been this whole entire tournament. But going back to Spain, yeah, this is their second generation, and look, Lamine is going to be entering 23, 24, Kubarsi 23, 24. Pedri is going to be like 28, hitting his prime. I think Rodri might be out at that point, but La Masia is going to produce some other CDM, the next Busquets, to replace him, or who knows, maybe Madrid comes with something too. I think Nico Williams is in there as well. Cucurella is going to be like 31, 32, but maybe Balde switches in. Like this Spanish team, this Spanish nation, federation has just been absolute dominant. I think someone brought it up, 20 years, and I think they have 2 World Cups and 3 Euros. That's just dominant.
Did they win their one of those Euros leading up to that other World Cup in 2010 as well?
Yes, it was
2008. Yeah, 2008 and 2012.
And 2012. And then this time around, which is why and you know what's crazy too? I think they're the favorites for the Euros in the next 2 years. I really don't see who's stopping them. I can't see anybody stopping them. This team is
they're the favorite for the next World Cup, in my opinion, as well, easily.
Yeah. Easily, yeah, they're easily. The only one that can really stop them is France, and look how much they made them into their bitches the last few years, honestly. So no, I think this is their second generation. Expect them to win the next Euros as well. I just don't see anybody stopping this team, unfortunately. We're in a reign of Spanish dominance, not only just for the men's side, but shout out to the women's too. To the women's as well. They've won the World Cup, I think, a few years ago as well. Euros, Barca are usually the most dominant team to like really produce those players when it comes to the national team in Spain, for the women's and men's as well. So Spain are on a roll, man. If you're a Spanish fan, be blessed. And even in tennis too, they have fucking the new kid Alcaraz too. So it's like fucking dominating everything.
Is he a Barca fan too?
Thankfully, he's a Madrid guy. He's a Madrid guy.
Okay, good.
Still like. With and
from UFC too, Ilya Turpia. I forgot about him as well. Damn, Spain got everything, bro. Spain got everything. Shout out to Spain fans. They got everything. They're blessed.
But when you talked about like how good Spain has been with this national team and like potential second golden generation, do you think that's going to help La Liga at all, Jeff? Because like the first Spanish golden generation was like the 2010s, and that's like when La Liga was at its peak, arguably. Do you think this helps Spanish football at all? Like with how good Spain has been?
I think so. I think with now, see, the problem with La Liga is we're in a similar boat with Serie A in the sense that I think we're not a league based on the financial constraints that a lot of the that our president in La Liga puts on some of the clubs, I don't think we can be able to dominate Europe like we were back, I think, a few years ago with Madrid and Barca, Atletico consistently, right? So we're just there's a little bit of constraints there, but definitely I think in European like for the big boys, I'm saying like Madrid, Barca, Atleti, I think we will definitely dominate in the Champions League for the next few years. But I guess for the talent that'll be coming out, I'm excited to see what I'm really also happy too when you talk about the rise of La Liga. I'm really happy that this tournament, while a lot of people will point to Barca bringing so many players that came in, there were a few players that were like key players that aren't from Barca to Madrid. Like Cucurella, for example, was still at Chelsea, but he came out of Getafe and all these other clubs. Oyarzabal is the perfect example who I think had an okay game, but he had a really good tournament, I would say, for his level. You're talking about Nico Williams, Alex Baena, who was from Villarreal, but then went to Atletico de Madrid. Rodri, for example, wasn't a full was came out from Atleti. You know, Loriente, Pedro Porro, Laporte, Unai Simon. These are players from different clubs that I'm like this. That I'm really happy got to be a part of that journey and experience and really spread out and really show like, look, Spain can produce so many players from different mid-table clubs as well. So if you're a player coming up from the Spanish academy, just be excited for yourself. You like, or you're looking at those potential players. Look out, So I think this World Cup and this dominance is going to be really good. It's going to put the name for a lot of these players, but I think La Liga needs to do a real good job in maintaining them. Meaning, if other clubs want to get bigger and better, and the league needs to improve, you gotta pull up the money just a little bit. But I don't know when that happened, but for sure, Barca Madrid will definitely, and Atleti too will definitely be up in there. And I mean,
How much of
Atleti
that?
brought like 8 players too. I forgot they
Yeah.
also brought like so many players are in the finals too. So you know,
How much of that is going to have to come, do you think, from just like viewership and an increase of that? I think there's been a lot of talk with sort of what this World Cup can look like in like a post, or what the U.S. will look like in like a post World Cup sense. And I think there's questions about that because I think that's one of the ways that I think you are able to capitalize on that. I think it's fair to say you'd probably put La Liga 2 maybe behind the Prem, at least if your terms of rankings and maybe sort of how those teams overall stand to compete against other teams in Europe, especially with the conversations we've been having about like Serie A. So then it's a matter of, okay, now you've won the World Cup. I mean, what percentage of the rosters between both nations play in La Liga, let alone how many of those Spanish players play in La Liga? Okay, cool. There's your eyes now. I mean, you have the World Cup winners. For all those Americans that are tuning in for the first time ever, you just watched a lot of them go toe to toe in the World Cup final. And now it's about, can you get them on when it's in season? And that's always going to be tough because you're back in season. You're going to be competing with the NHL once that starts in around like the October, November. You're obviously going to have football. I mean, football season's just waiting to ramp up. That feels like it's around the corner here in the U.S. So I think it's a matter of that, and how is FIFA and how is soccer, MLS, whatever, going to be able to market themselves outside of just a Messi and MLS? Because I think that's really what it's going to boil down to. Because I think you have all the ingredients there. I think you have, like you said, you have the infrastructure, you have the players, you have the system, you have the league. I think you have all that ready and waiting. It's like, I think if that's going to be what's able to usher it in, and then maybe if the money, if the TV, if the viewership numbers come in from that, we'll see how everything works out. And I think that'll be very interesting. But I do agree. I think it'd be interesting to keep the eyes on the league just in the next 5 years and see how this will change.
yeah, I'm just really excited for the academies and the players that will, like, for example, Madrid, right? We just bought Cucurella, for example, and all these type of things. But we have so many of these young players spread out throughout Europe. Where like Barca too, they have a lot of these academy players. Like, who's the next player from Barca and La Masia that's gonna break into the team? Who's from Madrid gonna make that next big transfer? Like, because Nico Pass was part of this Argentina team, and then they got a few young Spanish players that are probably trying to knock their way into the door for the Spanish team as well. So it's just really gonna be the transfers from like who's gonna come out of these academies that I'm excited to see.
But like, how
potentially
does that
knock away.
change the layout? That's going to be like that's always going to happen. Like I think that's the thing you work with La Liga, Madrid, and Barca, Atletico, all these teams. Like I expect them to be able to produce at this quality, and that's what they've been able to do over the past. I mean, you have to say 10 years because I think there's a various amount of ages in the squad here. That's kind of a given when you're working with La Liga, and it's a matter of how can you get back to sort of maybe the highs of the 2010s. Is it just a matter, do you think, of producing those better players to be able to get to those highs? Or do you think it is a matter of about growing the leagues in terms of growing it in terms of size, I mean, in terms of viewership, and the eyes on it, rather outside of, the quality is going to change for the World Cup? Because I don't know if the quality is going to change for the World Cup. I think it's always been there. I think if you're talking about changes, I think it's got to come from sort of how this league is viewed on a broader scale.
Yeah, it might be the viewership, but I think part of it will be, like you said, the players coming in, because I think that will also help the viewership as well. Because if they know, like, these young players are coming out and going to these top national teams. It's all right. We got to watch these players, So I don't know. I think that also has to play a part with just who's going to come out, who's going to rise, and who's going to bring to the occasion. Because, like you said, like the young players that come in are going to come in and replace like the other players. Like remember, Carvajal was an undisputed right back in 2024, and I was shocked that he didn't even make the squad. But looks like they didn't need him because look who replaced him, Pedro Bro, who was arguably like the best right back at this tournament. So it's stuff like that where like maybe the next young kid, more viewership will come in because like, oh shit, we have this awesome dude who plays in midfield who just replaced Fabian, and he's from Real Betis. Like, oh, let's go watch Betis games now because you have this guy. So it'll be
Mhm.
stuff like that. But I think the league, in terms of like when it comes to viewership, it's gonna be. I think viewership is always gonna be high just because of Madrid and Barca. But I don't know. Maybe that's where European success need to come in. More more academy kids need to break into the scene for the national team, and then more dominance within that national team. Be like, oh shit, like this team produces like the best players in the world. Like that's why you look at the Euros, the next one, and if they win again, watch how much the viewership is going to go up because everyone's going to look at that league like, oh shit, these are the best players that are coming out of here. So it's good for Spain. It's good for La Liga that we won, that Spain won. And yeah, no, I think it's a good win for Spain and Spanish football. Like the leagues are definitely going to be happy. Definitely going to be happy. More viewership, more money, more academy kids, more people wanting to play for the Spanish team. And yeah. Shout out to Argentina too. I mean, they were a little bit of scumbags throughout this whole tournament. I'm not gonna lie. You know how much I hate some of their players, but gotta give them props. I mean, the resiliency that they've shown throughout this whole tournament, we can't take that away from them. Even though they can be a little bit of shitheads and all the things that they do. I mean, you saw Paredes right after the game just show out why I don't like this team a lot of the times. I don't hate the nation. I don't hate the history of the Argentina, but I can't stand their current players. Besides maybe Messi and Licha, honestly. But the rest of them are shitheads. They're sore losers, and you saw what Paredes did after the game, just wanting to go fight, pick some, be a sore loser, and you know is what it is. But they did put up a good fight in the tournament, and they just got outmatched, outclassed like everyone else in this tournament, including the mighty France, if they want to take a jab at it too. So. But yeah, I think that's all I got from the game. Shout out to the halftime show as well. Any thoughts on that too? I wasn't really
No,
that fond of
I
it.
skipped
But
those. I'll
you
be
did?
honest. Yeah.
Fair enough. I was there. Criticism to FIFA. All I'm gonna say is, if you're ever gonna do this again with a halftime show, please just make it one person. Okay, just do it one person. If you're gonna bring in Bieber, it can't just be one song, brother. It can't be one. If you're gonna bring in Madonna, it can't be one Madonna song. If you're gonna bring in Shakira, it can't be one Shakira song. You need to make it one. I would even say the closing ceremony was better than the halftime show. I'll even say that. I mean, if you're gonna bring Speed in, cool for you. Post Malone and Sway Lee too. That's not bad. But that halftime show, if you're gonna do it again, which I probably won't ever do it again, I think it just got Americanized because we were in the U.S. But if you're ever gonna do it again in the States, make it one person, just one, and have them do the shit. Do what the NFL does with the halftime, just one artist, and maybe with a guest, and that's it. But it's my
I
only
think the most
criticism.
American halftime show could have been like Savannah Bananas or like Dude Perfect for like 20 minutes. I think that's what they should have gone with. I don't, would you rather watch Dude Perfect or I Show Speed for 20 minutes at halftime? There's your choice.
How
How
about
about
none?
nothing? Yeah, I was gonna say nothing.
That's when you turn the channel. Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, we
I
even
turn
have the
channel off.
Muppets on, bro. We even have the Muppets on. I
I'll
was like,
take
bro,
the
I don't want to
a
see the
Muppet
Muppet.
halftime show.
A
I think that
Muppet.
would
You
go
know what?
pretty
I'll
hard.
take a Muppet, just a Muppet halftime show.
Karen, you give us that, right?
I'm still saying no halftime show. Just do it like the other World Cup finals.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We're gonna take a quick break here, but as always, please, much love to, as always, the GOAT, Robin Stone Pictures and at Stone Pictures. Much love to you, my brother. Shout out to you for the awesome work and reels that we've been putting out this whole really summer with the World Cup, and I can't wait for the league to start again. And shout out to everyone who's been a part of the World Cup journey as well, including my co-host here in Isaac House and Kieran Keneally, and Sam and Emily, all of them that join in. Appreciate you guys for your brackets and all these type of things. Much love to you as always, and I can't wait for the league season. Hopefully, more different content, more watch alongs. Shout out to you, Isaac. I know we weren't able to do more watch alongs just because I think we had a little bit of issues with like the streaming services and stuff. But hoping to get that fixed, and we get to do more with like UCL games, the league games, and all these type of things. But I guess kind of shifting the narrative into I'll bring this up. How excited are we for club football? Be straight up with me.
I'm
How
ready for
excited
a
are we?
break. I'll own up to it. I've enjoyed a break from football. I think I've been a little football down. I talked about it with my dad from the World Cup. I loved being able to watch every game like in a row, multiple and someday at some points. I think I even talked about it, but it got to a point where like it overloaded the system, and I think I'm ready for some other sports. I think even that American cycle. I'm in the midst of a baseball season, and I'm ready. I'm getting around a little bit ready for football. Like I did a fantasy football draft. What was it the other day? Like you're starting to get in that. You're starting to feel in season. So I think I'm ready for a break
Yeah.
and waiting for club football.
Feel that. How about you, Kieran? How about you feeling with?
Yeah, I'm the same. I think I need a break. I mean, the Champions League's already long format. The World Cup, this is our biggest ever World Cup. I'm okay with the break. I know United, we just started our preseason yesterday, so like we're already back in the swing of things, but I'm okay with having a break for another couple weeks. I'm
Yeah, me too.
a little burnt out by it.
All I'm saying is, for what our transfer window is looking like right now, my hype kind of died down for Madrid, and just looking at how good every Madrid player was, like Mbappe was really good. I thought Vinny was very impressive this tournament with what he had to deal with Brazil and everything, and the entire year as well. I thought Jude was absolutely spectacular. Who else? I mean, we didn't get to see much of Kunate, but Cucurella, I was really impressed with him. And yeah, and then a lot of our players I really didn't get to show up in the World Cup, like your Trents, your Rudiger. I mean, Rudiger did play. Your Courtois, I guess Courtois was decent. Um, just I don't know. We still need a few players here and there, but so far right now, I'm just not excited for the potential of just watching all three of those guys not know how to kick a ball. So we'll have to wait and see. Plus, the Elise transfer saga, I just don't want to hear it,
Get
bro. I
over it.
really don't.
I get it over.
My head hurts thinking about it. But yeah, you guys are right, man. I am at the point where I'm happy World Cup is done. Like I need a break from watching 4 games every day for like 2 weeks straight. I was like, God, man, done. But going back to the main topic here in Spain, obviously your World Cup champions. Um, the most dominant team, arguably best international side ever. I think those are the conversations that are popping up. 1 goal conceded throughout this whole tournament, mind you, and extra games being played with extra teams, the round of 32, with the round of 32 being involved. And then you had the final as well. If you want to add that to like how good they were defensively to not concede a single fucking goal in that final. I don't know. Is this the most dominant? Is this better than at least in this past generation? Because you had obviously 2002 Brazil, 2006 Italy, 2010 Spain. You had 2014 Germany, 2018 France, 22 Argentina, and then right now we have 2026 Spain. So, what are your thoughts? Conversation warranted? Overreactions? Merited?
I think you have to give it some time. Like right now, right after the final, it's easy to say this is the most dominant team just because we witnessed them win a World Cup. But I don't know. Again, I think you just have to give it time. I mean, the 2010 Spain team, maybe that's like the best football we've seen because that was like prime tiki taka. Like this, the football Spain played this tournament was good, but I think maybe 2010 Spain was more dominant in possession. I think 2018 France, even like that team, just destroyed everybody. Like that was a very good France team. So I don't really want to say if they're the most dominant because I think it's way too soon to even like entertain that. But defensively, I can see it. I mean, only 1 goal conceded is insane, especially like you said with more games this tournament. Like that is pretty crazy to only give up 1 goal. So you have to give them credit there. I mean, they shut out Messi, Elise, Mbappe, Dembele. Like that is not a joke.
Ronaldo, Ronaldo too. Bruno.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Bruno. I mean, I would agree. I'd echo a lot of what Kieran would say, especially relating to what that 2010 team is. It's interesting. Some of it boils down to how you view these teams and what you use as a metric to view these teams or grade these teams. Is it just based off of the players? You look at that 2010 Spain team. I mean, I can pull up the squad from the final. Let's see if I have that game pulled up. I'll share it. And like you look at some of the names that are on that team. Let me share the screen here and make sure I have the right one. Netherlands, Spain, correct. Here Jeff can put it in. Like, I mean, you have Sergio Ramos, Busquets, Xavi, David Villa, Iniesta, Xabi Alonso, Iker Casillas, Puyol, Piqué. Like, those are some players that are regarded as like some of the greatest of all time. You can go back to that 06 Italy, go back to the early 2000s Brazil teams. Like, are you going to sit here and say like the current Spain players are better at any of their respective positions all time than some of those players or some of those? Maybe not. And again, that speaks to Kieran's point of you need time. You need to see how these players' careers end and go. But I think if you view it as in like just from that tournament's run, I think there's very, very much a good argument. I think you point to that goal differential. Sometimes you always have to talk about the opponents. I can share it for this one as well. I mean, that's one, again, I use that 2010 Spain team. I think that's just maybe the best example of maybe one of the more dominant ones of our timeline. Like they have another good run. They play a very tough Netherlands team in the final. They play a good Germany team, and then they played a good Portugal team as well. They play Paraguay in there as well. Like those teams are no slouch, but I think in the group stage you allow 2 goals. I think that you have a better goal differential in this one. Again, that's sort of how you have to view it. But like you said, this is some fairly good opponents. This French team is very, very good. I think it's fair to say they're going to go down all time fairly well, especially with a lot of those careers. I think you can entertain sort of the 21st century. Again, I owning up to I don't know, and I didn't experience 06 and 2002, so I'm going to own up to. I'm not really taking that into account. I'm really going from 2010 onward, but I think there's a fair argument. I think even that 2014 Germany team, there's that game against, what is it, Algeria? I want to say where you need to go to extra time, and that game's very, very close. If it's not for a phenomenal Neuer performance, you might maybe go out early. Not that they weren't dominant.
The greatest goalkeeper performance, I would say, I've ever fucking seen from a goalkeeper.
And that's always part of it. Like, in order to win the World Cup, you need to have standout moments like that. So it's fair to incorporate that. But there's some other games, like Spain, I think they just dominated week in, week out, game in, match in, match out throughout this tournament. So I'll entertain it at least. I think that's a good conversation to have in terms of that level of dominance.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you guys. I think I'm gonna go with what Isaac said. I think entertainment, and then I'll also say with you, Kieran. I think we just got to give it a little bit more time. I would call this the greatest side ever generation. We'll call it, because when I consider generations, I consider who's the coach that they're under. Like, for example, I keep on forgetting Spain's coach. God, I keep on forgetting his name. For example, Deschamps era. Well, like the Deschamps. I think the Deschamps era with France was a little bit disappointing, only because they only got one World Cup. I mean, yes, they did make a final. Yes, they made a Euros final 2016. But you just wish when you just come out with one gold thing, I think that's just a little bit of a disappointment. But they were still a very dominant team in the sense that like they were making finals appearances. They had the names put into the right teams, and they made a few finals and semifinal runs. For Spain's team, that side, I will call it the tiki taka early era. I think that clearly wipes the floor with anything right now because they have the Euros, the World Cup, and then obviously they won the 2012 Euros as well with the switchability of just everything. And then you have the Argentina side too because they won back-to-back Copa Americas, and then obviously they won the World Cup in between there in 2022. So that's in the conversation as well. But I think with the way they were just so dominant as a team, just no superstar dependency. You know what I'm saying? They didn't rely on Lamine on the majority of these tournaments or runs. They didn't rely just solely on Rodri like in the last time around. It was Lamine and Nico the first time around. This one, I would say it's more Rodri, Oyarzabal, the defense of Cubarsí and Cucurella, Laporte and Porro with Unai Simon in the back. It's almost similar to that Spain team as well, you know, back in the day where, you know, they had different eras of players and different genres. Like you had Iniesta playing left wing in the 2010 World Cup, and then 2012 they brought in Jordi Alba as a left winger, and Fernando Torres was, I think, massive in 2008, while Villa was big in 2010. So, I think they're up there. I think they're up there, but I think if they win the next Euros, which is what in 2028 in Ireland, if I'm not mistaken, Doc, in your home country,
Ireland and England, yeah.
Ireland and England, which I'm hoping we get to make it by that point. I'm gonna hope that we get media access to that. We gotta just beg UEFA to get us in there. You got some home from us down there, Doc, to get us in there. We'll do the big three.
I have plenty of family members in Ireland. I'm sure they would let us stay over there.
Do you know where the final will be? It's gonna be in Wembley, huh? Final will most likely be in Wembley.
Yeah, it'd have to be at Wembley.
Cool, but no, I think they win 2028. Best, most dominant side. In the fashion that I imagine they'll win it too. I think they'll be up there. I think they should be up there, really up there. But also just the modern era, the way they're playing in the modern era too, with the taxes, with how many games are being played, the physicality, the opponents that they beat too. I mean, Ronaldo, Messi, Mbappe. I mean, Courtois, if you want to put him up there as a legend or game or you know or a game changer as well. I mean, just a dominant run. But no, I argue with you guys. I think it's a little bit too early, but I can't wait for the next Euros to really just solidify that. Just a very dominant team. And I really don't know who's gonna stop. I really don't know, man. It could be for another 10 years we might see this. I'm being serious. But yeah, no, shout out to Spain and Luis de la Fuente as well. Shout out to him, man. He's one of my favorite managers that I've seen throughout this whole tournament, throughout this whole run. Was very criticized as well. I mean, maybe should have not brought Kubarsi with the form that he had this year. Brought in the likes of Gavi, brought in the likes of Ferran Torres. And look at that. It's paid off, man. Cucurella is still starting. And look at that. Rodri was his main piece, even though he came back from a torn ACL and go out and win the World Cup, man. So credits to him for trusting his players. Oh, and Unai Simon too. Everyone was saying John Garcia or David Raya should start. The two best goalkeepers in the leagues. Yeah, he still started Unai Simon, and he was short from perfection, I would say. Short from perfection. I mean, he could have done a little bit better with his playmaking distribution, but only one goal conceded. This is insane. But before we go on to end off this show with our last segment, which would be the awards and the goals and all these type of things, and the Ballon d'Or race too after, Rodri's recent Golden Ball win. As always, please, for the last time this 2025, 2026 year or season, please follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. Much love to you guys, as always, for giving likes to the content and the reels and all these type of things. Much love to the fans, as always. But, whew, man, Rodri Golden Ball. I think I'll start off with, is that a lock for him to win the Ballon d'Or?
Definitely leans, I think, well in that way. Like that based off of the conversation we had in the last episode, like this is the one I'll hear out a lot more than like a Messi, just because of retrospectively the leagues. I know he hasn't played the most. I don't know off the top of my head, Jeff, maybe you could pull it up, or just Google it, like how many games he actually ended up playing for City this past year. I know it wasn't a full complete season with some with injury, but there's no doubt he was crucial to that team as well. Obviously, you saw this performance, and then I think it's fair to say if he just gets off to the normal standard for him off to next year, I'm fine with it. I can live with it. I think again, I brought up that passing stat. That's obviously just one of the many facets for this tournament that he's excelled at. I'm not upset with it.
Yeah, I was gonna say this would probably make him the odds-on favorite because he's won the domestic double with City, won the World Cup, and was the World Cup MVP. My only thing, like Isaac said, is just like the injuries. Maybe it's a little hard to justify giving it to someone who was injured for a lot of this domestic season. Like talk about how Ousmane Dembele was the League One Player of the Year, even though he played 11 times all season. Now, I know that's completely different, but that's still like you give an award to a guy who was injured for most of the season. Is that entirely fair? When like Harry Kane's got 70 goals, like can you overlook that? But Rodri's got the trophies. I mean, I think 2023 is a perfect example. Haaland got 53 goals, won a treble, but Messi won the World Cup, was the best player in the World Cup, and he got the Ballon d'Or. So based off that precedent, I feel like Rodri has the formula to win it, but I can't say he's going to be like the guy right now.
It's funny you mentioned that with Kane as well. You're in a world where I get it, understandably, so much for the way the voting works and the rankings work and all that, but Kane could walk out of this calendar year with 100 goal contributions, 100 goals, whatever, some crazy stat like that with a phenomenal start to next season and can be walking out of here with no silverware. And I think rightfully so, we'd be walking away not like he was robbed. It's really that Lua one I go back to. I think my views on the Ballon d'Or would have changed and would change so much based off of the way like that one went down. I think it's clear he deserved it a long time ago. And ever since then, that the different standards and rules or whatever, it seems to change year by year or few years by few years. It's so annoying. I hate it. Like, I hate having to think about it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like I said, I think if you would have told me this 2 years ago, I would have been like, fuck you. Hell no, doesn't deserve this shit. You give it to Kane automatically. He was one of the top players in the UCL. He was right behind Mbappe for top UCL goal scorer. There's no way you can give it to a fucking player that's only played, really dominated for like one single fucking tournament with the best team around him and all these type of things. But for Rodri's case, I mean, he was the standout from these top players and Lamines, your Pedris, your Fabians, your Dani Olmos, your Nico Williams, Cucurelas, Kubar. he was a standout, right? So 2 years ago, I would have said hell no. But this year around, I guess because I've accepted it, I'm like, you know what? If that's the category that we're in right now, then okay, fine. Like if this is what's gonna get you the Ballon d'Or, then fucking fine. So that means I better see Jude up in there for the next Ballon d'Or rankings, which we probably won't, but you know how this shit works. So I better see a lot of players up in the Ballon d'Or rankings based on what I saw from this World Cup. So Mbappe should be fifth. Kane should at least be second. Because he did score 6 goals in this World Cup tournament with 2 crucial ones against Congo. Got to a semifinals with England, so got third place. If you want to count that, they got third place as well. So I've come to accept, if this is the way the ranking's gonna work, then it fucking is. I'm not gonna kill myself about it anymore.
He did play. I will just end it off. He played in 37 league games. It looks like this past season. So it's not like he played like 20 games or some incredibly low amount. So I can understand. 37 is not a full season. It's not full, but it's not awful as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I think with the fact that he didn't win the league, I think also the Champions League early knockout to that Madrid team too. They'll probably look at that like, But yeah, like I said, if Argentina were gonna win this, and I guarantee you they would have given that shit to Messi. I'm being serious. They would have definitely given the Ballon d'Or to Messi. I would have not been surprised. But yeah, hopefully also Lamine better not be good. I better not hear some Lamine conversations. That was not.
If he had a better game,
good... huh?
If he won them like the game, if he had a goal and assist or had even an assist or something like that, or was player of the match, I could hear it out if you want to say because of the season he had for Barca, then into being important, and then maybe winning a player the whatever. But yeah, I think with the performance sort of by the end, not that he was bad. I'm not going to sit here and say that he was at fault for anything, but yeah. It's interesting.
Yeah, I just don't think he was like the main focal piece that Spain were like relying on. I think it was just really Rodri. And he was by far, I would say, with Messi, I think the top 2 players. And then you had I think Jude, Vinny, and Mbappe obviously behind them. But I think just to the fact that how dominant they were in the semis and then the finals as well. Rodri and Messi were just absolutely just the 2 standouts, So you had to give them to them, either one of those 2 for this World Cup tournament. But no, I think Ballon d'Or might be on for Rodri, and then I think for Kane as well. So we'll have to wait and see what the voters decide. I think after this performance from Lamine, this whole World Cup, I don't think he's in it. Obviously Mbappe's not going to be in it, and then obviously Jude's not. I don't think Jude will be in it as well. Heard shouts for Kvaratskhelia too for his performances in the World Cup. I think also Dembele's out of it too, just because of the semifinal performances as well. So it's really going to come down to Rodri, Kane, and then. We'll see what happens with who gets it, but like you said, I don't think I'll be mad with Rodri winning it or Kane too. I mean, I see all points for them winning it. They're the top 2 this year, so I have to wait and see. But yeah, the awards. I think one final time, Isaac. I guess we can do the Golden Boot race. Congrats to my guy, Kylian Mbappe. Had a slip up. I think what was it yesterday night? Did you hear that he posted Esther Exposito on his supposed close friend list, and he posted on his main with her married the main jersey,
his girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah, he posted her with the whole French kit full out, and it was just like, what are we doing, bro? I thought you might be into that because I was like, oh, dude, look at the slip up. But Golden Boot race. Here it is. We have Mbappe obviously winning it with 10 goals, Messi with 8. And I think Mbappe also finishes with the most goal contributions in this tournament with, I believe, 14. I think he was close to breaking someone's record. So shout out to him. Yeah, 14 goal contributions with 10 goals, 4 assists. Great performance. Great World Cup from Mbappe. It just sucks that he wasn't able to, make it to the final and actually win the thing. But, welcome him with open arms back to Madrid, but I'm hoping that we do better this year, but we'll have to wait and see. I think for assists, I think Messi finished first, correct, as well, with what was it, 6 or 8?
So.
Oh, no, it was Elisa. No,
Elisa. Excuse me. Sorry, 7.
And then Messi was right behind him with 4?
Yep.
Crazy.
Him and Mbappe and Bruno on 4 as well. Not United, Bruno.
Should have been Bruno Fernandes, but we live on for another World Cup for that.
In another life, maybe,
In another life.
Maybe the next Euros.
Yeah.
We'll see,
if they get the manager right, that is.
It can't be worse.
It can't be worse. Yeah, it can't be worse.
It got worse with Roberto Martinez compared to the last guy. So. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think this is almost to the end of the episode and our World Cup recaps. But I just want to say thank you so much to you boys. One final thing, as always, where do you got? What was your favorite goal? I would say I'll give you the three. I'll give you the two rankings. Who was your favorite player of this tournament? And then what was your favorite goal from the tournament as well? Just to kind of end off here. Favorite player that you're like, it doesn't, it can be, let's say outside of our clubs, right? Outside of our clubs. So it can't be a Man United player, it can't be a Madrid player, it can't be a Bayern player.
I mean, I got to go with the Vizinha of Cape Verde. I think that's just a fascinating story to be 40, didn't have great odds of becoming a professional, overcame a lot of adversity. And what's he now, the most followed goalie on the Instagram or something like that? The whole world fell in love with him. He got the second most saves against Spain in the opening game. The way he kind of just put Cape Verde on his back with some of those performances, I think that's just insane. That was a great story. That's like the definition of an underdog story, but it was really cool to follow. I think that have to be my favorite player from the World Cup.
Props, Isaac.
It's kind of tough because it's like sort of one of my teams. The other one you didn't name U.S. perspective. I'm gonna go Alex Freeman. I think I sort of knew what he could maybe be as like a floor level. I think moving to Villarreal, if I'm not, I believe that's the team. Like you sort of know, okay, that's clearly a team that values him. I think it was for I want to say like $2 or $3 million, so a fair price to pay. And I think this tournament was nice. And then I think sort of as you grew into the sort of realizing that was going to be a starting player in the defense, sort of knew, okay, I'm going to go into it. Young player, I believe only 21 years of age. And obviously, from the start of the tournament, it seemed like the right back of the tournament. I mean, if the U.S. went farther, I think he would have had shots against someone like Pedro Porro, especially for how important he was for the U.S. team to start in those first few group stage matches. So I think that was huge. And I think it's nice to sort of wonder sort of out of this post-Dest era, knowing that maybe defense is sort of what he's known for, obviously playing a lot more forward for the U.S. team. To be able to have a solid fullback is great, especially some of the other worries we've had in defense. To know that we have a position back there is great. And then sort of only being 21, now being able to get you to assume a lot of minutes in La Liga. I think I have a lot of eyes on him for this next year.
Okay. You two took my two picks. I was going to go with Vizinha, and then you literally took my other one that was thinking for the U.S. So fuck you both, respectfully. See, I don't want to say Rodri because that's just so easy, but I've just been so impressed with him. He's been probably one of my favorite players, even though I think 2 years ago I had fucking beef with that motherfucker. I hated him. You know me. I was mad. I was mad as shit. But I think this tournament, I'll give him props, but he's not my favorite. Trying to think. Who can I put in? I'm going to go for a rival team, Kubarsi. I'm going to go with him, even though he plays for a rival team. I think what he's been able to done this whole tournament with the rough year or the kind of inconsistent year they had with Barca, to look that dominant and look that physically imposing as well. Because whenever I thought of Kubarsi as a player, I always thought, oh, he's a player that's very like nimble, agile, this and that. But this tournament, he's just, I don't know, they probably gave him steroids or something, but he's looked fucking massive. Like, he looks like a fucking man now compared to what he looked 3 years ago. And it makes sense because he was 16 back then to now being fucking 19, 20. So I can't wait to see how he looked like in fucking 5 years in terms of the player and the physicality attributes. But I think his ability to just play and break the lines with just one pass from that center back spot at the right hand side has just been perfect for him. And then also just his ability to just win the ball in the air for being a little bit undersized at like 6'1". I think he took a growth spurt. I'm not gonna lie. I think he grew just a little bit before this World Cup started because he did not look this fucking big. So I think Kubarsi, I just think I'm kind of jealous that Barca got him, man, especially with the center back crisis that we have. And I'm like, damn, bro, you got him, who's probably gonna be like one of the greatest ever center backs on track to be potentially the greatest center backs. One of the greatest center backs of all time. Like, you fucking lucky bastards, bro. Fuck all of you, man. But no, I'll say him, bro. I think he's been one of my favorites to like really watch. The way he was just able to lock down Mbappe. I think Messi today as well with Alvarez too. Like, props to you, man. Really one of my favorite players this tournament. I was gonna say Kobel as well from Switzerland. I thought he's had a good tournament too. And then I was gonna say Holland or Berg from Norway. I thought they've looked really good as well. For Norway. So much love to Norway. Couldn't play any Scotland players. Honestly, I tried rooting for them, but They're shit. I couldn't. And Cape Verde, I think is just too obvious. Like obviously Vizinho and Cabal were probably the two. But I would just say in general, just the whole Cape Verde team. But Kubarsi's my player. I think he's just been the one where I'm like, pretty good. Can you name me real quick your team of the tournaments? I'll name you mines, but who was your team of the tournaments real quick?
You mean
Let
like
me look
national team of the tournament?
No, just your in general, like who's your starting lineup for like best players in each position? You can go 4-3-3, 4-2-1-3, 4-2-3-1. I go with mines. I think I went with goalkeeper, Vozinha, right back, the whole Spanish defense pretty much, with Licha in there. It was Cucurella, so it was Vozinha, Licha, Pau Cubarsí, Cucurella, and Pedro Porro. And then my midfield three would consist of Berg, Rodri, and Jude. And then my attack would have probably been Mbappe, Messi, and Holland. Those are probably going to be my three attackers.
I have my team pulled up if you want me to go
Yeah, you
next.
can name it off, bro.
Jeffrey.
You know, yeah.
Vozinha in goal like you, and then
Yeah.
my defense was literally Spain's starting back
Yeah,
line.
Spain's
I feel
lineup,
like
yep.
with only one goal conceded, you had to.
Yeah, you have.
I think when I sent you this was either during or before the semifinals, so some of these picks might not look too good now. My midfield three, I went with Manu Kone of France,
Fair enough.
Jude Bellingham, and Enzo Fernandez. I don't like Enzo Fernandez, but I think he had a good tournament for
Fair enough. Yeah, he did.
Argentina. And then the attack, pretty basic, but Messi, Kane, and Mbappe. I mean,
Fair enough.
they were the three best attackers. You can't overlook any of those guys.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
I
matched a lot of what actually Foot the Mobs has as well. I think I'd swap out. I think I'd just go to the Spanish defense as well. I think it's pretty easy to say. I'd throw Unai Simon in net. I don't know. I think I'll go the records. I think, like you said, maybe actually no. I'll take Jeff Shot. I think I'll give Kobel in net. Actually, I think it's.
I love Kobel this tournament. He was
Switzerland team.
That Argentina game, he was so fucking good. Like he was really good. Besides the Julian goal that you can see that, but what can you do, bro? No one's stopping that goal. Everyone concedes to Julian.
I'll be biased a little, but I especially think for that French team, he was their more important center back. I'm going to throw Upamecano in center back for that French team. I think he was crucial for as far as they went as they did. I don't know. I'd do what Foot Mob did. I'd count sort of the Spanish fullbacks as like the wide midfielders. Rodri in midfield with Bellingham, and then it's just your pick of forwards. You'd throw Messi and Mbappe, and to be different outside of Dembele, I'll throw Holland in there as well. Yeah. So I think those is three as an attack.
Oh, that's good. That's a solid team. Yeah, you have to put the Spanish fullbacks, some of the Spanish defenders in there. I try to put some French and Argentinians, but I just think with the way I wanted to be a little bit different, and just see like outside of just getting to a semis, like who was like just so good for that team and so impactful, you know. And I thought Berg was just definitely from nowhere. I mean, to get to a quarterfinals like that with that roster just to help out Holland and Odegaard, like I have to put him in there, and he's gonna get a big transfer if he hasn't already yet. So, yeah, Berg, Rodri, and Jude are probably my midfield three. I would have put Enzo in there. I was thinking about putting Enzo in there too, Doc. But I think if Norway didn't have that good run, definitely would have put Enzo in there, or Bruno too. If Bruno Guimaraes, not Bruno Fernandes, Bruno Guimaraes, if he made it to a semis and had a fifth assist, for sure would have made it in there too. Because I was thinking about him with how good he was for that Brazil midfield as well.
He didn't miss that pen, maybe.
Don't bring it up, bro. We could have gone an England versus Brazil matchup. I would have loved to have seen that, but didn't get to. But yeah, goal of the tournament too, guys. What was your favorite goal of the tournament? What was your favorite goal or you think was the goal of the tournament? In terms of moment, impact, everything.
It's that Cabral goal against Argentina for me. It's fairly easy.
Dude, damn it. Yeah, bro, you have to put that one in.
Yeah, I was going to go with also Cape Verde's second goal just because it's kind of like a memory for me. I was like with some family at a restaurant. We were in one corner of the restaurant with a TV, but on the other side of the restaurant, they had another TV that was like 20 seconds ahead of us. So like they spoiled the goal for us because they were 20 seconds ahead. But hearing the whole restaurant just cheer, and then you look at your screen and you see that goal, it was a great goal. To be fair, it's probably goal of the tournament, but
yeah,
it was cool to see like be in another setting watching a World Cup game.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think that was the goal of the tournament for me as well. I mean, just because of like the moment too. Just because you're like, there's no way this little small nation who got out the group of death are just giving not Beltas, but we're going like Rocky versus I always forget his name, bro. God, what's the dude's name who
Apollo
trains
Creed?
Rocky? Yeah, Rocky and Apollo just going at it, and Rocky just gave one fucking final knockout punch to the champs, and that goal to this day, man, I still think about it, man. Like that's up there with like the Mbappe goal against Argentina, because it's against Argentina too, against Debo and all them. You're like, what the fuck, bro? How did he put that in? Julian Alvarez goal too is that goal is just fucking beautiful. I can't lie, that goal was just fucking magical. And then that team goal between Spain was really good too. The Dani Olmo flick to Pedro Porro. That goal was probably that is an elite goal. If you talk about that's probably Spain's best fucking goal. Like as a team, I think that one is just chef's kiss, perfection right there. But yeah, I think Cabal takes this easy sweep here, and he's probably is gonna win. And they're probably gonna give it to him. I mean, just for the love of Cape Verde's run and all that type of things. But that's all I got, man. That's all I really got, man. Ballon d'Or race is in there. Congrats to Spain. Congrats to Rodri, Cubarsí, Unai Simon, who won the Golden Glove as well. Mbappe too for an awesome World Cup. Jude. Ahmed Diallo for Ivory Coast. Some of the Germans players in there with Elise Isaac. Shout out to him too. Who else? The end of some players' careers. It sucks to see. I think Neuer's done. Ronaldo's done. Neymar's done. Courtois is probably be done as well. Rudiger's done, even though he's not really compared to those two, but got to throw him in there. And then obviously today was probably Messi's last ever World Cup appearance for the Argentina team. But there's a rise of new generations, and it starts off with obviously the Spain team in Lamine Yamal, Pedri, Cubarsí, Luis de la Fuente's Spanish team. Congrats to them, deserved champs. But that'll be all. Thank you as always, you two, for hopping onto the show. This will be the end of the World Cup recaps and discussions. Awesome World Cup. I don't think it's the best, I would say, to be quite honest with you. I think if there was a better final, maybe. But it's right up there. I would say it's definitely better than 2018's for sure. I think anything's better than 2018's World Cup. I'm not going to lie to you. But good World Cup, good ambience, and I can't wait for 2030. And we just need a long break now until the 2027 season begins. But you're listening to the Outlaw Podcast with the Big Three and me, Jeffrey Canova, Isaac House, and Kieran Keneally. And I hope you have a good rest of your evening.